Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Frog Pond. Spike Frog here, and today we're going to be a little bit of a different video, right off the heels of a very disappointing recording session in which I found out that I was muted, as well as I've just had infinite different things happen to this, as well as other videos that I am recording. So yeah, this is did at this for a couple hours today. Which means that I can no longer really call this a blind reaction video. Let's get that out of the way real quick. If you guys are interested, new here, just having fun, and you haven't already, drop a subscribe down below. Trying to get the channel up to 1,000 subs. That'd be pretty cool. Love to see you guys around, obviously. Welcome to any of you who are new. Do a lot of informational content here, though today is a little bit different than that. Today we're going to be doing React content. I know, the most original and beautiful and amazing content that you have ever seen. That is also why we have sound. Well, not sound. They obviously me, but you don't have like music background like I like. So we have something background. Just because today we're going to be reacting. I mean, we got quite the chain going. I think I'm like, I don't know, like 10th in line. Jeez. I hopped onto this a little late. I'm sorry, y'all. I spent it last night. But we're here now. We're here now. And all I can say first is I am insulted. Beaver, how could you do?
Let's get a couple of our smaller content creators in here too.
Everyone.
I hope that Troopers on Break, Yotter, Caracol.
Dude.
No, that isn't the right one. Still, that's Caracol's video. Unfortunately, I can't do an intro as that. Well, I might. I might go back and edit. Well, I'll know. Anyways, so yeah, Beaver called us out. Oh, I wish he had. But did he did call us out?
You know, let's get a couple of our smaller content creators in here too. I hope that Troopers on Break, Yotter, Caracol, one of those smaller guys that have worked in.
Heart is broken, man. That to me. All right. So, anyways, I think the course of action here is Troopers video. So, not as much of a video. Troopers likes to stream highlights where he just sort of goes back and his streams and he kind of cuts videos. I've already sifted through it a little bit. Gonna start right here. He does a little bit of an intro and everything, and obviously he looks entirely big. And we love him for it. Anyways, so let's dive right into this. So before we do start watching the video or anything, I'd just like to preface this with my opinion that Grand Arena is broken. It's not in a great spot right now, and a lot of people are not having a lot of fun in Grand Arena, primarily because they're facing like way too big accounts in Arena tier, i.e., Carbonite is facing people in G, and it's just not what they should be. They should be like Chromium or Rhodium, that type of thing. And I've got a few solutions on it. I'm going to see if anyone covers anything, but we're just gonna go ahead and jump head first right into it. I will get to my that I talk about
the game. I thought it was going to be something really fun,
He's
exciting, engaging.
He's talking about Lightspeed tokens, right? Preface.
That was going to help all players get their characters up and running so much faster and make them more accessible, so you can get that not that Darth Revan, but like Bastila Shan Fallen, you can get her relics faster, or you can get Bastila Shan, or you can get General Kenobi faster. Maybe get your Jedi Knight and
He's really stuck on this Bastila train.
Anakin up faster. Maybe your Wampa. Doesn't seem the case. First, they're tying it down to factions, which I can understand. But my biggest issue, which Beaver pointed out excellently, which I will tag his video as well as the other people's videos in the description below. In the free pass,
I will be
first
doing that
off,
as
it's
well. If you're curious as to where to find any of these videos, feel free to check the description. I'll be putting every single one that I can find, even though I won't be referencing or talking about them much in this video. I will make sure to there because it's
at the end, and you're only getting one. So if you're not spending money, you're a free to play player. I think it's almost difficult if you're not going for the new marquees and everything. You have to make sure you're logging in 90.
yeah, that's an excellent point. I mean, locking it behind tier 50 is kind of annoying because, yeah, I mean, like you said, it's kind of difficult for people who are not buying the episode pass to get to tier 50. Like, it's obviously possible, but you need to be very diligent about it, and you need to be doing it very, like, doing all of your quests and stuff so that you can actually. And, yeah, I mean, ultimately, you spend a lot of time getting it, and it's kind of a negligible reward, like, if I'm being honest. It's not very high stars. It's gear 12. It's kind of meh. Even the one, okay, I might be a little bit like out of left field in this one, maybe just because I've like upgraded a lot of my characters already. But I feel like the one in the here, let me pull it up on my thing. Let's out real quick. In my on my account, I have a lot of characters at Relic already, and so them locking it behind these factions is pretty detrimental. Like, there's one Imperial Remnant character that I can take up with Lightspeed token. So obviously, I'm just gonna have to dismantle this one. I can't even use it, and then this one, I'll just get a Relic level on my Storm. Yay! What they do. For a lot of players, that can be a little bit more valuable. I think it is nice to have the Imperial Remnant, even though mine are done. For the most part, because a lot of people are going to be able to spend it on like Enoch or Death Trooper Peridia or Night Trooper. You're going to be able to spend it on a little bit more of those Cairo Crunch characters, but ultimately, in my opinion, yeah, the Lightspeed tokens kind of a fail. They're really also expensive. I don't know if there are any in the shop right now, but they are. There is, yeah, $15 for one character at Relic 7. And sure, you do get to choose the character, but I. The Lightspeed bundles are just infinitely more valuable in that respect, and so, like, look at this. You get 6 characters for a little bit extra. And Imperial Remnant. So, yeah, ultimately, I think Lightspeed tokens either need some work, they need a price redux, or they're not great in the spot that they are right now, but let's.
80% of the days of the month if you want to reach level 50 of the episode pass. So I
Sift
and
through this a little.
token. My apologies. This in $15 basically. That's where you get the Relic 5, 7 stars, ability upgrades to 7. And the point I'm trying to make is that CG is all about controlling their resources. Recently, GL Hondo, day one unlock, but it's been because of resource management, all that. I've halted all my farms and everything. Point I'm making is Zetas are now you're plentiful on Zetas. It's so easy to get Zeta.
Are you now? I'm not. I'm not. I know a lot of players aren't. That's a bit of an interesting take. That's a little bit spicy. Um, why are we talking about Zetas? I feel like we're supposed to be talking about Grand. Might just be me. Might just be me.
You can
You
get them
might. I might have
here.
skipped something
You
that I
can get
needed
them, I
to watch,
believe,
or
not in the episode shipment, in the guild activity. You can get them right here.
I
They're
wouldn't. I honestly wouldn't. You've got better ways to acquire Zetas. Pretty bad value trade, by the way.
always in the shipments. Don't make me look stupid. Don't make me look stupid in front of my friends. I swear, I know. I played this game. I've played.
Okay, so what he's talking about there is occasionally they will rotate at the top of the weekly shipment. So once in a while they will be right at the top. So like if you go up here, they will be up here. So instead of like the ability Omicrons or that type of stuff, occasionally when it rotates Zetas in it. And once in a while they'll be for crystals, and actually no, yeah, we have actually had ones that are right here that are for credits and ally points. So you need Zetas. That's an excellent get them. I realize that I locked this, but yeah, just right up here, this row area, you'll find Zetas. Though I still don't quite understand talking about with this.
This game for over 330 days in a row on
Oh yeah,
live
he's gonna
stream. The
crash out about this.
competitive realm of Grand Arena. I would say I'm semi-competitive. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm locked in. I'm ready. We're gonna have a good time. Sometimes, like last round, you want to see the engagement that you're getting in Kyber. That's the engagement that CG's getting in Kyber. This is the engagement.
That's an excellent point.
Like,
That is actually
it's
100% an excellent point. I've been finding something like that a lot, where either my opponents will full clear me or they will kill one team on with their day, and that is in Kyber 4 as well. I am also in Kyber 4.
like I don't know what it is about managing a game. Ever since they've importance. No, I don't think so. I think they were fine in Squad Arena. I think the reasons of
That's a bit spicy as well. That's a little bit spicy. If you're not going to have crystals anywhere, then or like yeah, if you don't have crystals in Grand Arena, then nobody's going to play it in the first place, because I know that's the primary reason that I play it, is for those extra payouts at the end, getting those win rewards, as well as just daily. So I feel like that's a bit spicy. Obviously, Squad Arena is dead. Nobody plays it. The crystals aren't there anymore. So I don't feel like they be there, because Squad Arena is a bit of an interesting. Squad Arena is a bit of an interest. Like, you're gonna see a lot of teams in Squad Arena that you would never see in Grand Arena, because you can only once. You're gonna see a lot of these like more difficult, unkillable teams in Squad Arena than you're going to see in Grand Arena, because even though they're really good and it's hard to beat them, there are more efficient ways of using your tunes that doesn't involve breaking up 5 different teams. So yeah, I don't agree with that blatantly. I feel like crystals should be out of Squad Arena. They should be Squad Arena. Datacrons is kind of really done in the nail, or put the nail in the coffin there for me. I I don't think they're fine. They were fine in Squad Arena. I think they did the right thing taking them out there. Now, do I think that they're doing the right thing by exclusively locking them in Grand Arena like that? Maybe not, especially when it's kind of a ghost town. But ultimately, I think that they're off in there.
Squad Arena, like gangs, like gatekeeping people from it. Come on, see, CG, you just didn't want people using free to play teams to counter your pay to win teams to get the high.
Hot, very very hot take. I Not to play like devil's advocate here. He's got a little bit of a point, but
Highest crystal for their dailies. Be honest, CG. Be honest. And so, which is 5-2, 2 million galactic power roster in Chromium. Even in Bronzium, I have seen screenshots from my viewers because I called them out. I said, "You're
okay. We've already talked about this. Everybody knows that it happens. I mean, even in Kyber, I'm still getting blown out of the water. And I'm at 10 million. So yeah, it happens in all degrees of Grand Arena right now, and that's kind of a bad thing. And I will get into a little bit later. I don't think I'm gonna finish the full video. I'm just gonna kind of skim through right now, and if he got any like plans to change it, that's kind of what I really want to view right now. But because I've got my own, and we'll talk about those in a minute. So
fine." I have seen screenshots of Bronzium. Why we're here. I'm here to play this game. I want to play with these Star Wars characters that I farm. Is everything going to counter everything? No. That's how it was, but there weren't arenas. And CG is basically doing this, as we all know, because they want, oh, you're not winning? Go ahead and spend this money on this Lightspeed bundle. But guess what? When you buy a Lightspeed bundle, you know what you need. And this is what free to play players go into it blind. And I don't like it. It's scummy of CG. When they get Lightspeed bundles, they're going to be like, great. Hey, I have Kylo Ren. I have all the requirements done unlocked. Let's
Yes.
say they have all the Zetas on the characters and all that everything.
Oh,
They're not, they still have to gear up this character, relic this character, and apply 6 Zetas on top of getting the ultimate. And
okay. So this is, my opinion, a little bit of a doomsday mentality kind of thing, where CG is only doing things because they want people to spend money. It's just kind of the way it's always been. You've always had to finish like a character like this. You always have to relic them. You always have to slap those 6 Zetas on, unless friend. If you aren't aware, and I don't have all 6 Zetas, Kylo Ren. You only need 4. You don't need the basic. You don't need basic. Can be good a little later on when you got okay, but that's kind of a little bit of a side tangent.
by that time that someone spends that $20, oh,
No, yeah, it's ultimately a doomsday mentality. I do believe that CG does a lot of things for money. I believe that is a primary driving factor, as most are. However, I do feel like they've got a little bit more care than to just like, oh, we need to bleed our player base dry at every possible opportunity. And I don't feel like it's quite that case. They do still care about the game. They care about Star Wars, obviously, a lot of love, and they put a lot of effort into a lot of these characters. I do think that firmly. I think they grabby at times. There are a lot of things that are a little bit, I guess, for lack of a better put it. But I don't think that. Gosh, oh, that or something. Anyways, so I do believe that, yeah. While I do think that they are trying to make as much as possible, I don't are ultimately going or intentionally like locking people like that into spending more money. I think there's always an option not to spend money and do care about the game, because if the game is more fun to play, there will be players, there will be long run, and I think that they can do a minor degree. I muted it.
so that's my issue with the casual aspect of Grand Arena. I'm going to give both solutions at the end. Now, when we're looking
Okay,
at the
let's just go to the said solution.
and like the Peridia patrol troopers, they get double banners, something like that. I think that'd be something fun. It would be seasons, right? You get seasonal reward, like seasonal
Okay, here we go.
arenas, XYZ with different themes, different rewards, all of that. With Kyber, I think it would be quite interesting if we got seasonal events, right?
That's once again spicy. That's I okay. Let's see more of what he says about this.
Especially around Halloween, like in Kyber. What if it's like, oh, Night Sister, Zombie, and XYZ, and like the Peridia patrol troopers, they get double banners. Something like that. I think that'd be something fun. It would be engaging. It would force you to use those teams. Find a way to slot them into the game to get them to help like get a different perspective of Grand Arena to
Okay.
bring
Um yeah. I don't I don't like
back that excitement, bring back that joy that we have all been craving for. Another example would be like for the anniversary of The Force Awakens, on that day, if a Grand Arena lines up on it, or that week, Resistance and First Order, they both have increased stats in honor of the anniversary. for Kyber only. For Kyber only. I want to make this make this loud and clear. This would be for
Okay, my issue with that is that turns cyber into more of a gimmick than an actual competitive environment, and I feel like a lot of people want a competitive environment, and so I feel like adding this extra banner nonsense or extra that nonsense, I feel like that would be overall detrimental, and that would just kind of cause more problems than it's worth. It's not a horrible idea. Like, I'm not saying it's the worst idea ever, but I'm saying just I feel like it makes the top level player experience a little bit more of a gimmick than like exciting or new or interesting or just more healthy in general. In fact, I think that we should be focusing more on the bottom end, which I will go over when. So let's see what he says in his next.
those are my two main ideas
Missed it.
of increased stats in honor of the Amethyst. Don't go for this season's, okay? Main ideas of how we can change up Grand Arena for the end game. But at the end of the day, we are here not because of capital gains. We are here because we love this community. We love.
Okay. That's ooh, hi. Get rid of that, and then um. Okay, so I that's the most recent video. I just wanted to react to it. I've watched a little bit of Beaver's video. Um, I don't remember off the top of my head a lot of his points, but one thing. Okay, so let's just get into what I would do. Right, that's probably most of what you're here for. I might include timestamp or something if I will to, but I will also include the timestamp in the description, and you can just fast forward right to this point where I'm talking about my ideas for it. I feel like we've had a few good ideas. Like I think Beaver had the inactive bracket idea, or some probably not him. I feel like it was someone else. But having the inactive bracket, I think, is a really good idea. Like punishing people harder per se if they don't play and participate in Grand Arena. I think that is a good thing. Like they drop more or they drop more rating so that they get even lower, and maybe have like a low carbonite where just these super inactive people that have been inactive for a little bit, they hang out and they have a chance to break back into it, and maybe even like I'd say place them depending on how well they do. Like okay, so let's break this down. Say you're inactive, you are 10 million GP like me. Okay, you don't get promptly released back in to unleash your absolute wrath on Carbonite. That feels bad. That feels yeah, incredibly bad. But what you're doing is when you're playing in this sort of inactive league, then you're paired up against people who have similar galactic power to you. Right? You're paired up against 8, 9, 10 million, within 2 million of you, maybe like a percent of your galactic power, so it's not like harsh on the beginners and whatever who might just like not play Grand Arena for a little bit. But yeah, you sort of pair them against people who are similar in out, and based on how well they do there, that's how or where you release them. Grand economy. Also, might be an okay idea to just like bar people above a certain degree out of Carbonite. Because I feel like Carbonite is kind of just a learning ground for a lot of people. It's where they're sort of just getting into Grand Arena, figuring out how it works and that type of stuff. So maybe when you get past a certain degree, Bronzium, you can't fall below, or you. And that might be a decent idea. I sort of just said, yeah, like a GP threshold there. I don't believe in pushing people too far above Carbonite if they are at a certain GP, because I feel like that also feels bad, because if they're just absolutely dreadful at Grand Arena, they don't mod well, they don't counter teams well, they just don't know a lot of stuff in that regard, then I don't think they should be benefited for that. I think they should be forced to learn in that respect or get actively. And that sounds a little harsh. That sounds a little harsh, I'll admit. But I just don't feel like should be rewarding people for just not caring to learn counters or just these base level things about the game. You don't even need to be like a god modder to get into in a Rhodium. It's fairly easy. You just need to know some basic counters, way around GG don't, and that's really it in that respect. I did have an idea that I don't think I heard anybody. I've talked about it a little bit in if you there. I firmly believe that one of the best ways to take this is actually an underdog system. I think that would be great. I think that would pump up the ante a little bit in Grand Arena, and maybe you'd have to deactivate it in Kyber or something like that. But if an opponent is a specific degree bigger than you, like say they're 2, 3, 4 million GP bigger than you, then you lose less banners when you lose, right? So them absolutely coming in and clobbering you, like obviously it scales with how much bigger they are, then you lose less. So it would be far less punishment for just getting an opponent completely out of your control that is just absolutely mashing you and pulverizing you, and yeah, no fun, no fun, not ideal situation. So yeah, don't punish people for as hard as that. However, adversely, in a typical underdog system fashion, you should get more reward, or like maybe probably not. Um, you should get more like skill. Yeah, skill rating. You should get more skill rating for beating somebody who is a degree of magnitude bigger than you. So, like, they should have all the advantage in the world. You should not have the disadvantage. I kind of think the tie system is funky and bigger and been playing longer, but oh, about it. Anyways, but I do feel like if you do manage to beat, like in good fashion, not like they attack once and you call it good, um, but like they actually are trying a little bit, and you do manage to beat them, even if they're not like going all out. But yeah, if you manage to beat them, you get more skill. So on one hand of the or on one hand, you have you get beat, you lose less, but if you beat them, you get more. So it's punishing people less for stuff that's out of their control and rewarding skill ultimately. And I don't know, there could be some problems with this. I think it'd need a hot bit of fine tuning. But I feel like that's a great way to get the low end sort of like interested in Grand Arena and sort of actually eating. And I believe that a great way to drive a little bit more publicity. I'm sure people have talked about this before. This is not an original thought, any stretch of the word, but having sort of like what other games have, where you have like a tab on Grand Arena where you can go watch streamers or top players who are live and battling right now. Like you can go see how their counters work and maybe have like sort of a replay. That would be really hard to implement, but you have like sort of a replay system where you have these really interesting counters and you just have like little bits and chunks of it. But I think it'd be really cool to like link to live creators who are doing their Grand Arena right now and that type of stuff. That'd be really healthy for the game. That would get excited about it, especially if they're facing a streamer or something like that. I think that could be pretty cool, but ultimately, yeah, there's something that's got to be done. Grand Arena is in such a horrible position, and a lot of people just ignore it all in all. So, yeah. Anyways, that's about it. I just figured I'd jump on this massive, huge train here, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, I will